Hello, my fellow chatterers and those who worship books, and anyone else who's popped in because you're curious or you got a bit lost. I'm Chatty, and welcome to my channel, Chatty the Mad Chatter, where I'm going to be chatting away madly about this tag video, or as I like to call it, it is the end of year tag, but I feel it's just going to be my therapy with books in front of a camera, because that's what it feels like. It's like my current reading situation crisis, I feel. I know crisis is very dramatic, but we like to be dramatic. Anyway, back on track. It's one shot, there's no editing, we just roll with the punches, aided by the wonderful power of pause, and hope for the best. So embrace the chaos, embrace the waffle, because there will be, because I can already feel it coming. So cheers, everyone. No dust this time. Hooray. So I have been ever so kindly tagged by Tiffany from the book channel Towering TBR. I really enjoyed hearing her end of year plans, and I'm so thankful that she tagged me, because actually it has made me sort some stuff out in my head. Now, usually I'm very good at knowing who originally created this tag and giving them the credit and letting you know about it. But if you see my notes here, I've literally just started filming and realised there was a big gap, because I was going to look that up and then totally didn't. Oh yeah, lovely rainbow drawings by my child. I used their random scrappy bits of paper for my notes, you know, save the planet. So I'm really sorry, whoever created this tag, but I will leave the description, in the description box, I will leave their channel and their video for their original tag if I can find it there. So I will try and credit them, but I'm afraid I totally don't know who came up with this. It's now such a booktube staple, which is fantastic. So they should be really proud of that, that this is one of the tags, like the mid-year freakout, that everyone just loves to do. So, and as it's my first year on booktube, it's the first time I'm doing it. So hooray, cheers everyone. I'm going to try and drink this before it goes cold, because I always end up with like half a mug of tea at the end of the video and it's like stone cold. So just ignore me. What a stupid thing to say. You're watching a video that I'm literally making. Right, the waffle is real. Okay, I have my tag of tea. There's no cake in here, which is a shame, but I have got all the lovely, lovely tags for this tag, because I like to make things a bit random. However, this is one of those ones where I have realised that certain questions are not going to make sense if I do them out of order. So the last two questions I've left at the bottom, because I feel otherwise it's going to go totally chaotic. But just for fun, the first four are in a random order. So the first one is tag number 2. Do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? And yes, I do, or this would be a highly boring question. So I have a couple. So I've realised from doing booktube, I've really got into vibe reading. So very much kind of seasonal. How is it feeling? I want to read books that evoke those emotions within me. And also taking part in Gothtober, I read Belladonna. So very autumnal, sort of, not really like dark, but a little bit of dark. There's sort of a death presence. It's very sort of like end of season going into winter vibes in here. As you can see from the cover, we've got lots of dark colours and purples. There's a lot of kind of herbal, cottagecore witch kind of feeling to it, with gathering all these herbs and making different things. Oh my goodness, it's quite late in the evening and my brain has gone, so I'm probably going to forget all the words. Anyway, I read this recently. It gave me autumnal vibes. It was fabulous. I really enjoyed it, and you will hear more when I do my wrap up. And then I have another one which I'm going to be picking up very soon, which hits the prompts for both Gothtober and Black Aweenathon. So I'm very much in all of those kind of thrillery, cozy autumn, darker feelings. So this is a book I've been excited for a really long time, The Library of the Dead by T.L. Huchu. And it very much feels there's an occult feeling in here. Its protagonist is she lives in Edinburgh, and there's sort of like a mystery sense to it. it doesn't like say it in so many words, but it really feels like she's going to be working a lot of stuff out. So it has like, it's not a crime, but it feels like there's a mystery vibe to it, and there's definitely like a paranormal to it as well, and I'm really excited to read it. So it's giving me all those autumnal vibes. So yes, I'm excited for this one too. Okay, next tag. What have we got? We have got this one, which is quest tag 1, which is, are there any books you started this year that you need to finish? This pains me, but yes, there are 2 that should be priorities. But again, with both of them, I've been doing this. I want to read it in the best possible way, so I need my brain to be fully functional so I can kind of like take it all in and enjoy it. So the first one is a collection of sort of short stories and poems. It's called A Rabble of Drabble and Doodles. This is part of my it's coming to me, it's a readathon, the magical readathon. Yes, the magical readathon, Ariel, and this is one of my prompts for that. I'm still going with it. It finished at the end of August. I'm still going with it. I'm going to do a readathon fail videos at some point. But this is one that I really want to view. It is a review. It's self-published, and it is by Wen Clark and lots of other artists. And it's a really interesting piece that's been put together from lots of, it's kind of like improvised art. So they've all taken a word, and there has been a drawing that has been inspired by that word and a piece of writing inspired by the word, and they've put them like side by side. Like, so for example, here the word was haberdasher, and here we have the artwork from the haberdashery, and you can see someone running surrounded by sort of like tape and scissors like you would get in a haberdashery. So that is a lot of fun, and then we have a writing piece on it by the side. So I have been sort of picking this up and putting it down, sort of like reading it in pieces, but I want to read it cover to cover and then do a review on it so you can get all my full thoughts on it. And my brain has just not been in the right place to be able to do it justice, but I definitely have to read this by the end of the year, because otherwise it just feels ridiculous that I haven't done that. So that is one I'm in the middle of that needs finishing. Also in the description box, I will put in the links, because that is a book that has been created to provide money to get a chair for this family to kind of improve their well-being and living. And I'll provide the website and details on that if you want to know more about it, which I think you should, because it is a really good project and really interesting. The other one that pains me is a reread that I love, that I started in June, it's now October, and I still have not finished it. I paused it because I was really involved in Whatever You Want-a-thon, and I was getting competitive, and there were a lot of books that I wanted to read for that, and I just felt that this beast of a book was not the best to read in a readathon. It's Oathbringer by Brandon Sanderson. It's the 3rd book in the Stormlight archive. I love this book. I have an amazing time with this book, but there's so many other books I want to read, and it's so pretty. This is my US hardback with the cover from Kraken Books, and I have the beautiful matching bookmark here as well. Here it is. There we go. Beautiful matching bookwork with Dalinar on the side, and the quote, "Sometimes a hypocrite is nothing more than a man in the process of changing." And this book is so good. This book is incredible. We have these gorgeous end pages in the US edition of the different, for want of another word, we're just going to call them deities in here. They're not, though. And I loved my reread of Way of Kings and of Words of Radiance, and I was loving this, but I then never picked it up because then I had other things that I was wanting to get to and read, and it just didn't happen. But do I want to finish it by the end of the year? Yes, I do, because I am so excited to finally read Rhythm of War. But I think what I need is like a week of holiday just for me, not for my family. just for me, where I do nothing but read. That is what I need. Actually, if that could be arranged, that would be marvellous. Unlikely. I just have 2 other books that I'm in the middle of. For very different reasons, and I'm not putting any pressure on myself to get these done by the end of the year, but as I'm in the middle of them, I thought I'd tell you about them anyway. So this is A Conjuring of Light by V.E. Schwab. It is the 3rd book in the Shades of Magic trilogy. Again, was supposed to read it in June. Part of a buddy read with the lovely Jessie the Sleepy Koala. And Megan from Discord, who goes by the name of Sylvan Princess. And me and this book did not get on. I was excited. I wanted to like it. I was excited by the end of Gathering of Shadows that we got a lot of character stuff, and the setup for this one was great. And then I read part 1 and got really angry. So there we go. Have not read on. That's all I've read from this book. That little bit there. That made me really, really angry. And I haven't progressed with this. I will do at some point because I want to see if maybe once now I've calmed down, I've had a really long break from it, maybe it'll be okay. Maybe I'll be fine with it. I really doubt it at the moment, but I want to give it another go. I was just so angry. I was just like, if I keep reading this, I'm going to be rant reading, which is half fun, but actually there's lots of other things I want to be reading and enjoying right now. So this will get read, but I'm not putting any pressure on myself to do it. I will feel when the moment is right for me to pick it up again. It's part of my Chatties challenge, which I'll come on to later, which is why I'm also not just going, do you know what, Schwab, it's fine. But also, I thought I was going to love these books so much. I got the really nice special edition hardback versions of them, all 3. We've got the lovely artwork on the end pages. We've got this wonderful, like, the word Anosi on the fronts, which is the language. I can remember absolutely nothing. Well, I can't remember stuff about it, but I can't remember all the little details about it anymore. It's got a nice little ribboned book thing in it. It's got like extra stuff, like interviews or like extra chapters or bits in it. And it's such a shame that me and Schwab are just not the reader and writer combo that I was hoping we'd be. But there we go. We're going to put that down. I'm going to move on. And the other one is Bloody Brilliant Women by Kathy Newman. This is a non-fiction. It's sort of like a history of women and the wonderful things they've done that are not necessarily reflected in the history books. And I've been enjoying it. But I'm not someone who normally reads non-fiction. So I was just going to read a little bit here and a little bit there. And I think what I need to do is I need to read it in sort of like bigger chunks and actually kind of like put it on a TBR so I stay with it and don't get distracted by exciting fantasy books. Okay, that's all the books I'm in the middle of. Let's see what the next tag is. And it is, what are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? So other than the 2 I've already mentioned. So I'm currently surrounded by books. There's more than 3 because I'm going to go rogue. I'm not going to limit myself because it's my channel. I can do what I like. I'm going to have some tea and then I'm going to tell you all about them. On the cusp of lukewarm here. It's still mildly hot, so I might drink a bit more. Okay, try not to forget the tea. Right. So, books I want to finish by the end of the year. I've moved it into 3 categories. So we're keeping the 3, just not 3 books. I've got buddy reads. I've got buddy read series I definitely want to finish by the end of the year. Those are my priorities. I've then got series I'd like to read a bit more in. I've then got vibey books. So books I'm feeling in the mood for and would quite like to read by the end of the year, but realistically probably won't happen. So this is books I just really want to pick up, and books that I want to read because the kind of the dark and the coziness is calling me to these wintry vibey books. So let's start with the series. So I am doing the Cog Along with Vidania from Vidania Silver Scribe. I've nearly finished reading Moonlocket, And then I have Sky Circus and Shadow Sea. We're reading one a month, so I want this series finished by the end of the year. I'm having a brilliant time chatting with Vidania about this. And also there's a few others in the chat as well. Talia joined us from Bandana Book Mom for the first one, and Kelly is currently from Kelly Reads a Lot is currently reading Cogheart, so I'm enjoying the chat on all that. The next one might get pushed back a little bit, just because I recently watched a very useful video from Anitha at the channel Anitha Garde, where she said she's probably not going to finish this series by the end of the year because she hasn't picked up the second book in the series, which is the one we're supposed to read in October, which is A Torch Against the Night. And I was going to really try and cram it in at the end of October, but if Anitha's not picking it up now, then I'll just kind of probably hold off till November, and that's totally fine. So originally the plan was October, Torch Against the Night, November, A Reaper at the Gates, and December, A Sky Beyond the Storm. But it's probably going to get pushed back a month, and so we'll finish it in January. So these two hopefully finished by the end of the year, and probably this one will go into January. So that's fun. Again, really enjoying the chat with some other people on Discord as well. So I'm really looking forward to picking them up and continuing with our characters and seeing how that all pans out. And then this one is definitely going to be finished by the end of the year. Whoa. Well, there is one slight issue that I'm sure I will sort out. And this is the 20-man trilogy. Now, from those of you who can see, you'll notice I'm holding up only 2 books in this trilogy. I don't have the third. The name of which totally escapes me. Is it in here? So the first one is Fool. Thank you for this list. Okay, marvelous. I find the titles don't necessarily stand out. There's a lot of similar words in them. So the first book in the 20-man trilogy is Fool's Errand. The second book is The Golden Fool. The one I need to get hold of is Fool's Fate. Oh, and then it's like Fool, Assassin, Fate, Quest. It's just, they all kind of go together and mush up in my head. This is The Realm of the Elderlings by Robin Hobb, which if you've been watching on my channel, you know I am absolutely adoring. Massive Hobb fan. Never read these before. I've read the first 2 parts of the Realm of the Elderlings series. This is the 3rd, and I'm loving it. I have now read Fool's Errand, and it was so good. In fact, this gave me very much autumnal vibes because it just felt very cozy, like you were coming home, you were picking up all the threads of the previous ones, plus a few extra fun ones in there. They went off on a quest, obviously. Well, no, it's an errand, not a quest in this one. They went off on a quest. And a lot of it's outdoors. It feels very naturey. It just feels kind of like skies drawing in sort of weather. So it did feel cozy and autumnal. Anyway, off on all the tangents. So I want to read Golden Fool and Fool's Fate before the end of the year. And yes, so I'm sure I'll get my hands on Fool's Fate. I will either grab it from the library, because I'm on a book buying ban, but I might have to break it to get hold of Fool's Fate. But we'll see. I am reading that in December. That is a given. It's happening. I nearly picked this one up straight away, but I'm like, no, one a month. Calm yourself down, child. Calm yourself down. Where have we got to in my pile of books? We're now on Sanderson. So if I somehow manage to finish the massive beast that is Oathbringer, I then get to continue and I get to read unread books, which is Dawnshard, the novella, and The Rhythm of War, which is the fourth book in the Stormlight Archive. But I want to read it when I can give it my brain and my time, and I can just sit and enjoy it and not have to go and be a mummy or a, community worker or a person in the world existing. I just want to be a reader. But, it would be nice, but I feel it's highly unrealistic that this one is actually going to get read as much as I would love to. I just feel it's unrealistic. And I will look forward to it whenever I can achieve that for myself. started out so well. All of these started out so well, but I overcommitted on the buddy reads. That is what happened after making no plans. January, I was like, I'm making no plans. There's no plans. By the end of January, I'd signed up for about 5,000 buddy reads. Anyway, continuing with the Sanderson, I have the other exciting Cosmos massive series, which is Mistborn. So I have Mistborn Era 2. So I've read Shadows of Self now. I have Bands of Mourning and the novella Mistborn Secret History to reread. All rereads. Wonderful time. And then, as we know, there is another book due. So, possibilities. Would like to, we will see. And also, as I've not read Rhythm of War, there's like this Cosmere issue. Should I read The Lost Metal before Rhythm of War, or should I not? Answers on a postcard if you know. Okay, so that was the first section. So that's my first book series I'm enjoying and committed to. Oh yeah, and the Mistborn Era 2 sort of buddy reading on Gregory Lepurch's Discord with the Gregs, but everyone's sort of like randomly reading at different points, and it's fine. There's just a general chat going on. It's all fine. Okay, so continuing series by myself. So these are my own personal series that no one else is involved in, that it's only me that it affects. Well, that's a lie. There's a first book here. So I would like to read by the end of the year Hollowpox, The Hunt for Morrigan Crow, which is the third book in the Nevermore series, which I adore. I adore that series. Wanda Smith absolutely blew my mind. Love that book so much. I can't wait to read this. Why haven't I read it, you may ask? It is a question I ask myself. The main reason being I'm buddy reading this with my mum. We're having a wonderful time. But for some reason, we read the first two and then there was a massive gap, and then we just never picked up Hollowpox, to the point that mum's now like, I need to reread Nevermore and Wonder Smith before I can pick this up because I won't know what's going on. So that is a bit of a blockage. I'm giving her warning. Like, please start reading. I want to read this. Please read the other books immediately. Stop all your plans and read those so we can read this together. I also want to continue reading the Locked Tomb series. I'm enjoying reading these around the spooky season. It's fun. So I enjoyed reading Gideon the Ninth last year. This year it's Harry the Ninth. So I am really hoping to pick this up. Not on a TBR, but I'm hoping I can slip it in. We will see how that goes. I've got it out the library. We'll see. And then next year I'll read the third one. Nora the Ninth? Possibly Nora. We'll see. Anyway, my brain needs to work, but I might just generally just be confused as I read it, and it'll be fine. It'll be totally fine. Also would love to finish my reread of the Percy Jackson series in my very beautiful copies. I've read the first two. I next need to read this lovely one here, Percy Jackson and the Titan's Curse. So I've got 3 left to read. Possible. They're middle grades, they're pretty short, but unlikely. I may make a little more progress, but I think it's not going to be finished by the end of the year. Okay, so those are all the possibly continuing series that I'd like to do. Now I'm going to go on to books that are giving me the vibes and just generally calling my name and wanting me to pick them up. Oh golly, there's so many of them. Okay, here, they're coming through. So many, I'm just surrounded by books. Okay, books I want to read by the end of the year because I can't believe I haven't read them yet. Amari and the Night Brothers. I'm going to love this. I just feel it's going to happen. I need to read it. I just do. I just need to read it. The Hate You Give. Loved on the come up. I've got the rest of her books. Why have I not read this one yet? Again, I think it's giving myself that preparation. I just feel I'm going to get angry. And I just feel I'm going to want to really read this quickly. And in my life, I don't really have time to just sit and devour a book. It just doesn't happen for me. So I think that's why. Because again, I'm waiting for the perfect reading moment that is never going to happen. And these ones are sort of more seasonal vibey as well as me just really wanting to read them. I really want to reread Once We Were Witches so I can then read the second book, Twice We Make Magic by Sarah Driver, because it's a wonderful middle grade read. It feels very autumnal again. It's got witchy vibes. Look at these trees around the outside of the cover. They are giving you all of that, you know, Snow White going into the forest, freaky trees kind of feeling. It's not a major part of the book, it's just very atmospheric. And it does give you lots of autumn witchy atmosphere in here. We have orphans, we have witch hunters, we have magic being outlawed, and other things that I won't mention, but you can enjoy being surprised. Wonderful. Really want to read it. I have put feelers out to possibly do a buddy read in December with this, with Vidania Silverscribe, so that could force me into it. She might need to hold me accountable. No, not this one, Twice We Make Magic. So I need to read this before our buddy read in December of Twice We Make Magic. So Vidania, you can pester me to read this. I also want to read The Mercies by Kieran Millward Hargrave because I feel I'm going to love it. And I read this for my tea and taste, and I read the first chapter, and I'm just like, I want to read it. I really want to read it. And I want to go and sit in a pub on the seafront with the sea crashing around and read it. So when my kids go back to school, I might do that. I might allow myself to do that. We will see. Wintry vibes coming up. Come on, books. Come on, books. And everyone else does 3. Because everyone else is aware of their audience. And I'm just talking to myself. So I have all these wintry vibe books that I would love to read end of November, December, and give me all of those cozy, winter sparkly, Christmassy approaching feels. I would love to read another Sophie Anderson book this year. I really enjoyed The House with Chicken Legs. It was beautiful, impeccable, wonderful. I want to read more from her. The Girl Who Speaks Bear. We have very winter vibes. I don't know anything about it, apart from there's a girl, and apparently she speaks bear. I don't need to know. It's Sophie Anderson. That's all I need. And there's winter. I think I want to read it. I just think I want to read it before the year ends. That's what my brain needs. I also want to finish this duology. So this is Even the Darkest Stars, and I think the second one is called All the Wandering Light. And I have sourced and got the second one under my bed in the matching hardback. So I can read this one and move on to the second one and kind of read them as like in one go. Like I'd read them back to back because it feels like a continuous story with these. And, you know, it's a polar fantasy, so that would give me all those feels. This one I would like to read by the end of the year, but it might not happen because it's a reread, and it's just because it would be fun for me, and that is Midnight in Everwood. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. It gives you all the wonderful Nutcracker Christmassy feel. There's also portal fantasy, historical fiction at the start, feminism, and lots of sweets. And I just feel on the Christmas period I'd just like to read it again. But then that will probably knock out something else that I also want to read. And I think, as you can see, there is a lot of books I'm trying to cram in the next basically 2 months, because October's pretty much over, really, and I still haven't finished reading all my October books. So yeah, probably not going to happen. Right, I'm going to pause and shovel these books away because otherwise I'm going to fall over them. I think the tea will be cold now. Yeah, the tea is cold. It's not stone cold, but it's now cold, but it's wet. It's alright. I'm used to drinking cold tea. It's fine. Not ideal, but I'll take it. Next tag is number 3. Is there a new release you are still waiting for? Yes. I thought I was just going to be mega basic with this. A little bit. Unless you're not a fantasy reader, and then you won't have heard of these, possibly, if you don't watch anyone who does fantasy channels. But funnily enough, there is a Brandon Sanderson book coming out. Who knew? It is the 4th book in the Mistborn era too. It's the final book in that era. It's been quite long awaited. It's called The Lost Metal. And if you follow this series, Brandon Sanderson has what is known as the Cosmere, which is a universe, magical universe, and some of his books are interconnected. So although you have the Mistborn series, you have the Stormlight Archive, you have standalones like Elantris and Warbreaker, they all take place in the same universe, and there are possible links in between them. There are possible characters that could pop up in other ones, and in mysterious ways. Not everyone knows how that happens, and the more you read the books, the more you realise how that might be possible, and what is the bigger picture going on, and are we going to have more links pulled into these as the time progresses in all the different series. So it's very exciting. And I believe Rhythm of War, which was released in 2020, had more Cosmere linked stuff. So I'm a bit apprehensive about reading The Lost Metal without having read Rhythm of War, in case I'm going to spoil Rhythm of War stuff for me. So as much as I'm enjoying reading this series along with everyone else, I might have to stop until I've read Rhythm of War and then read The Lost Metal, and just accept that I'm just going to be behind everyone else. It's tricky. It is tricky because I am reading each of these books a month. I would love to get to The Lost Metal. Awkward. I only had a whole year to give myself to do all of this. The other book is the second book in the Legendborn series by Tracy Deonn, and that is Bloodmarked. I really enjoyed Legendborn. It is a retelling of an Arthurial legend. It's an urban fantasy. It has a protagonist who is black and has got like dual magic. She's also grieving for her mum. There's a lot going on. I really enjoyed all the aspects of it. I thought it was great. And I'm really looking forward to seeing where the story goes in Bloodmarked. Both of those I might, because I'm on a book buying ban, I'm going to see if I can get from my library. We'll see how that goes. So those are my two basic picks that I know loads of other people, loads of fantasy readers will be mentioning those two that are coming out in November. Possibly are out already, depending when I release this video. But there is one that I only just realised I'm anticipating without even knowing it. Funnily enough, I was watching a video from Lovely Day with Holly where she was talking about being on a book buying ban, and then she showed a book that she got before she went on that, she'd pre-ordered before she went on that book buying ban, that looked beautiful, which made me go onto Waterstones to look up that book and find out more about it. And then I discovered Sophia Thurker has a new anthology of poetry coming out, which has made me so excited. It's coming out on the 3rd of November. The cover is beautiful, and it's called A Mother's Heart, I think. And I think the theme with this one is it's looking at different generations of women and kind of what connects them together. And I'm expecting lots of fantastic emotional poetry that is going to make me feel a lot of stuff, enjoy saying them. If you have watched one of my October wrap-ups, you will know I have been adoring this book, which is Somebody Give This Heart a Pen, which is a collection of poetry. Sophia Thurker is a performance poet, and I've just had a wonderful time gushing about this. So yes, I'm thrilled that she's got another anthology coming out, and that is one that I will possibly be breaking the book buying ban for, because I really want to support her work, and I just want the book. I just want to own it. So I feel that's one's okay. I've got some points on my Waterstones card. I could just use that. Maybe that will not be like breaking it. It totally will be, but I think I'm just going to be fine with it. I think I'm just going to do it. So there. Right. How many tags? I've got 2 tags left. Oh yes, I said I'd leave 5 and 6 to last because it makes sense. Golly. Okay. Tag 5. Is there a book that you think could still shock you and become your favourite book of the year? I found that an interesting question. Like, I feel like it's two parts that could still shock you and become a favourite of the year. Like, it's a shocking thing. There are books I think become a favourite of the year, but I wouldn't find it shocking that they would. For example, if I get my hands on Sophia Thurku's anthology of poetry, I wouldn't find it shocking if I loved it and it became a favourite, because I love this one and it's a favourite. I wouldn't be at all shocked if The Golden Fool becomes a favourite because I love Hob, so that wouldn't be shocking. The same with Nevermore, with Sanderson. And even though I have never read a book by B.B. Alston, Amari and the Night Brothers, I feel, is going to be a favourite. I suppose what could shock me is ones I'm excited to read, but I don't necessarily have them in favourite category. I think that I'm going to really enjoy them. Like, I think I'm really going to enjoy The Library of the Dead. But if it is entirely amazing, then maybe that would be more of a shock, because I think this is just going to be a really good fun time, but I don't think it's going to be an all-time fave. But we will see. There we go. This one might. There we are. That's my answer. This one could. I suppose, like, I really, really enjoyed this. It's not an all-time favourite, but I really, really enjoyed it and liked it a lot, and I'm really looking forward to the second book, Foxglove, coming out next year, and I will definitely be getting it. It shocked me because I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was. I thought I'd enjoy it, but I didn't really think I was going to, like, really enjoy it, and I really enjoyed it. It was a great time. So yeah, it's a strange question. But not a strange question. I think it's one that I don't know completely how to answer, shall we say. But there we go, we've done that one now. Let's move on, because this is already taking far too long anyway. Tag 6, it's the final one, don't worry. The final one is now. Have you already started making reading plans for 2023? Yes, we're done. Ta-da! The tea is drunk. Yeah, okay, I'm not just going to say yes. I obviously have a massive stack of books and lots of plans I'm going to talk to you all about, because, like I said, this is my book therapy in front of the camera. This is what this is. And some of you may watch all the way to the end, and in which case, marvellous. Thank you so much. Let me know you're here. Others have probably turned off long ago, because I feel this is a very, very waffly video. So, my reading plans for 2023. I have several. I feel a little bit like, I want to call it Mr. Thomas. It's absolutely not. Mr. Collins. I feel a little bit like Mr. Collins talking about Lady Catherine de Bourgh. She has several. Do I have reading plans? I have several. Lady Catherine de Bourgh has many. I'm losing the plot. Right. Let's just pretend that didn't happen. Let's drink the cold tea. My reading plans for 2023. First of all, pardon me, on MJ's Discord, I've been talking to a few people on there who are Neil Gaiman fans, who enjoy this book, Good Omens. I really enjoyed reading this a few years ago. I also really enjoyed the BBC drama series with Michael Sheen and David Tennant. And this book was a treat for myself. I borrowed Good Omens from my mum. I gave it back to her when I'd read it. And then I saw that there was this in existence. Now, I love the artwork of Paul Kidby, who illustrates a lot of Terry Pratchett books. So this is Good Omens by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman. And we have a beautiful illustration of Michael Sheen as Azaphiel, the angel, who I cannot pronounce the name of, and David Tennant. Oh, sorry, it's very shiny pages, so the light's reflecting, and David Tennant as Cowley. And there's illustrations throughout. There's a few little pencil ones, and then there's some like full page illustrations in here, painted. And I've never read this copy, so I'm so excited because season 2 is coming out, and we had a wonderful discussion. I think it was on a live, yes, it was on a live show that I did. We had a wonderful discussion about, do we think there needs to be a season 2? And then like people discussed that Neil Gaiman had spoken with Terry Pratchett about a continuation of these characters and this story. So season 2 is being like supported. There is input from Neil Gaiman in it, so that makes me feel very confident. We've got Michael Sheen and David Tennant coming back in their roles, which makes me feel so excited because they're amazing together and I loved them in these roles. It was wonderful. So in preparation for that, we thought we'd all do a reread. So I think we're going to do this in May. So there's quite a few of us who are excited to do this reread. So yes, this is a set in stone plan. This will be happening and I'm thrilled. I don't know if any of you are aware of the FOMO book club by the wonderful booktubers Jack from Spread Bookjoy, Alice from the Giant Bookshelf, and Jem from Gem of Books. They have collaborated together to do 6 books over 2023, doing like not 22, a little bit of 2022 and then 2023. Pardon me, I'm really burpy because I downed that tea. So they're like 2 months per book, and then a live show. And there are quite a few books that I want to be involved in that. It sounds like a lot of fun. I've chatted all over their Discord. And one of those books is Goodnight Mr. Tom. So this is definitely one of the ones that it will be a reread for me. It's one of my favourite books. I love it so much. I love Michelle Magurian. So I'm looking forward to getting involved in the chat and then watching the live show with all of that. They also have Jamaica Inn by Daphne du Maurier listed on there, and The Dancing Tree by Kieran Millward Hargrave, which I feel like I'd quite like to be involved in as well. So those are all potential reading plans. Like I mentioned, I'm reading The Cog along with Vidania Silverscribe, having a wonderful time buddy reading with her, and we've spoken about doing some more buddy reads next year. We have quite a few books in common, so possibly reading Violet Made of Thorns by Gina Chen at some point, which is a YA fantasy, and also possibly reading Wildspark by Vashti Hardy, which is a middle grade fantasy, because I basically like looked at her shelves and was like, well, that'd be fun, I've got that one. So it'll be fun to read some books at that point. Maybe we'll do like a wheel of all the different ones we have and like spin it and see what we get. I have also spoken on, just go around commenting on loads of people's like YouTube book things. I really wanted to read this at some point, but this would be me starting a series. There's 2 books out. I think the third is due out 2023 at some point, and that is I can't remember the name of it. Oh, The Drowning Empire by Andrea Stewart. The first book being The Bone Shard Daughter. I hear such amazing things about this book and the Bone Shard Emperor. Anyway, the second book. I have good things about the first book and the second book. This was, I think it was a book haul that Nathan from the Bookish Gnome did. And Kelly Reads a Lot commented saying, oh, she had that book and would like to read it. And I kind of jumped on that conversation and was like, that would be amazing to do a buddy read. And then they both seemed up for it. So at some point in 2023, it'd be really cool to buddy read this with them. So that would be exciting. And then from then, I would then read the rest of the series, hopefully in time for the third book. I have no idea when it is going to be released. I think it was due to be released at the end of this year, but got pushed back. More buddy reads. I made a bet with one of my friends on Discord, Brett, that if he reads the rest of the Lycanes trilogy, I will read The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss and possibly the second one as well. And I feel that can happen next year. A year seems a long time. Like, it seems quite easy to fit everything into next year. So it's like full of possibilities. But because I love the Lycanes trilogy so much, I feel that when Brett says he's going to pick it up, I feel that I'll probably want to read it with him and talk to him about it. And possibly try and grab a few people around as well who might be interested and just have another read along. But also this as well. Like, Brett, you need to read this with me. Like, you have to reread it at the same time. Like, that's the deal, okay? So this should happen and also possibly Lycanus trilogy. We will see. Stuff that I want to read, just me. I really wanted to read these this autumn, but considering everything else, I was like, it's not happening. I'm pushing it back. So I'm hoping to read these in still the cool weather. Well, it's still porridge eating weather, so like January, February. And that is the first 2 books in the Bloodsworn saga. So that is Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne and The Hunger of the Gods by John Gwynne. I love John Gwynne's The Faithful and the Fallen, and I really enjoyed The Shadow of the Gods as well. So I feel I'm going to really, really love it when I reread it, because I've already met these characters and I can just like chill out from running around with them carrying my shield and hoping they don't die, to like just enjoying it and then seeing what happens in The Hunger of the Gods. So I'm excited, and hopefully can read it in optimal time. I think this is a priority for like early next year. That's my plan with that one. There's also going to be some middle grade books coming out that I love, like the next one in the series. So we have Annika and the Academy of the Sun, 2nd book, due out February, March time. Adore this. We'll definitely be wanting to pick up the 2nd one, possibly read it straight away. Currently reading Lizzie and Belle mysteries. First one being Drama and Danger, and I think the 2nd one is called, there we go, Portraits and Poisoning, is due out. It just says coming soon on here, but I have a feeling I then looked it up on like some book websites. I think again it's coming out like that February, March time. And then the 3rd Rainbow Grey is due out February, March time. And they've now revealed the cover. So I was looking at it and it was just like yellow with like stormy skies. It now has a full-on illustrated cover that looks incredible, because Laura Ellen Anderson is an absolute artist genius. She's fabulous and I love her artwork. So really excited for that one too. So those will all be happening. I also would like to progress and finish off a lot of series that I'm reading, so I can then start new ones. So I've already mentioned some of the ones that I'm interested in starting already. I would also like to do a adult epic fantasy and a whimsical middle grade fantasy, like vote which of these new series should I start for this year. I'd like to do that. I also have a lot of other videos planned. I've got a lot of books that I'm holding back because I've got some content planned that I was hoping to do this year and it just never happened. But I really would love to do that next year. I'm excited to do it. I think it would be really like fun reading projects for me, and I really want to do them. So I also have I said I'd come back to it, my Chatties challenge. So my Chatties challenge was to read the 7 years worth of popular adult fantasy, according to Goodreads. So I really love those Goodreads Choice Awards videos where booktubers will take a category and will read the top 10 books and then say, well, this is the ranking from Goodreads. According to me, this is my ranking. I really enjoy those videos. I find them so fun. And I wanted to do one. But because I kind of only came back into the reading recently, I thought, oh, I'll catch up. I'll do 7 years worth. Because there were so many things in there that I have heard of and haven't read. So I thought it'd be a great opportunity for me to do all of that. Unfortunately, I kind of hit July and I felt really drained by it all, because a lot of books that I had high expectations for and thought I was really going to enjoy just didn't. So the Court of Thorns and Roses series, not for me. V. Schwab as an author, of which there were 4 books on this list, not for me. There's some sort of second chance authors. I've read another one of their work. One I really didn't like. Some were fine, but the other books that are on this list are very different. But there's also Oathbringer is on there, and Rhythm of War is on there by Sanderson. And I'm almost scared to say I have high hopes for The House in Cerulean Sea, because that's on the list, and I feel I'm really going to love that one, but I'm holding that one back to be one of the last ones I read, so I end on a high, but then I thought I'd really love The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and I didn't. So yeah, it kind of like I felt a little bit dragged down and overwhelmed by it. So I was going to try and do the whole thing in a year, and I'm like, it's just too much. I'm not going to put like an end goal on it. I'm just going to keep going until I finish. And especially as like all of the content that I'd been making for that, I started making before my laptop died. So like my early booktube life, I was editing, and when I tried to publish the first video, my computer like went, no, can't do it, I'm too old, I can't publish it for you. And all of the footage that I'd taken was like, I have to chop it together. It's like in bits, it's not a one shot, no editing. So I can't really do anything with the footage yet. And I had just been like filming me to like compile a vlog, and I don't know when I'm actually going to be able to stick all that together. So kind of happy to leave it paused, but I might continue with it. Well, I'm intending to continue with it next year, when now I've had like a massive break from it all. Oh, there's so many other things I want to read as well. Like I really want to read some more more wider range of genres. Like I really want to read some more sci-fi. I want to read some books that some of my friends really love, like Monty B has suggested, like because I asked her like what would be a good alien romance to try reading, and she suggested books for me, so I'd like to try some of those. I'd like to read some of the wonderful dystopia books mentioned by Bin Youssef on Positive Writer. I've got a whole list of them that I've put in my Goodreads, but like I'm so surrounded by all the series and all these plans, like it's not going to happen till next year, but I really want to get into it next year. I also really want to read Mason from, oh my god, Mason, I know your channel, why is it not coming into my brain? Mason in the Dark. Also going to read Mason from Mason in the Dark's audio series Bleeding Ground. So I want to listen to that and catch up with that and hear it all, because I really enjoy hearing him talk about his writing process and things on his channel. So I want to get involved with that. Yeah, I think have I read everything? Yeah, there we go. Notes are done. So those are all my reading plans for next year. And finally, tag, you're it. I've got some people I want to tag. So I would like to tag Nathan from The Bookish Gnome. Hi Nathan, I would love to hear what your reading plans are for 2023. Hopefully it's going to include Bone Shard Daughter, but no pressure. If it doesn't, that's totally fine. And also like what you're hoping to finish off by the end of the year, because I love watching your video where you're sort of in front of your bookcase and going, oh, what shall I choose next? I also want to tag Talia from Bandana Book Mom. I would love to hear what your reading plans are for the rest of the year. Obviously, non-fiction November seems like it's going to be a really big one for you. But apart from that, what are your other books that you've got coming up that you're excited by? I would love to know. I also want to tag Tatiana from Reading with Tatiana, because she reads like really eclectically. So Tatiana, I'd love to know, like, are there books that you're really excited for, that you really, really want to finish by the end of the year? I'm going to imagine, I could be totally wrong, but I'm going to imagine you are not someone that will pause a book and kind of leave it and you're in the middle of it. I feel you're very much like book, read, continue, book, read, continue. But let me know. I would love to hear if if my perception of you is incorrect. I really want to know. I also want to tag a book channel that I've really recently started watching, and that is Kemi from the channel Violet Pages. I had a wonderful gush chat with her about the lovely Sophia Thurku, and I have then just gone and binged a lot of her channel and chatted all over it. So Kemi, I would love to know what your reading plans are for the rest of the year. I know you read, again, a wide range of books, so I'd love to know if there are any like ones you really need to get in before the year finishes, and if you've made any plans for 2023, or if you're just gonna wing it. I really want to know. And finally, I want to tag the channel Mona Lisa Reads, I believe is the title. If I'm incorrect, I need to put it in the description, because my pen ran out when I was making notes, and if I didn't film this video now, it just wasn't going to happen until like January, when this would no longer be relevant. But I will make sure her name is definitely correct in the description. I recently watched her booktube newbie tag and really enjoyed her vibe. She's got a lot of really thoughtful ideas about books and really interesting. And she needs to get to 100 subscribers because she's got a really interesting concept, intriguing. She's not telling us about it, but it sounds really, really cool. So get her 100 subscribers so she will tell us what it is. But I want to know her reading plans. She's got like a lot of books that she's really interested in. So Mona Lisa reads. I want to know what your reading plans are for January 23 and like what books you have to get to before the year ends. And for anyone who is in the comments, regardless of whether or not you have a booktube channel, please tell me the books that you feel you really need to read by the end of the year, or if you're already planning, or if that just sounds scary to you and you don't do it. Please let me know. Feel free to answer all the tag questions. Or if you just want to let me know you're here, then just leave a little autumn leaf emoji, because that's fun and kind of fits with the vibe. Or just do a Mason and leave a massive thought train of your response to all of these. I definitely read them, and I am intending to get around to all my comments, but sometimes life takes over and I just can't do it. But hopefully I can dedicate some time to replying because I love reading all the comments. So there we go, we're done. Just under an hour. Bye everyone, happy reading!